It all started like any other episode of The Graham Norton Show. The London studio was bathed in warm spotlights. Graham Norton sat in the host's chair in his impeccable suit and bright tie, and opposite him sat Johnny Depp in a black leather jacket, an unbuttoned shirt, and tousled hair falling over his eyes. The audience was expecting a great evening, but no one knew that this evening would become the most scandalous of the year. Please subscribe to my channel, it motivates me to create even better videos, and now let's move on to the video. Graham leaned back, adjusting his tie. "Johnny, great to see you. Ready for our little circus?" His voice was soft, but carried that playful tone that made guests relax or think they were relaxed. Johnny smiled faintly, raising his glass as if to toast. "Circus? Graham, I've been living in one for 30 years. His tone was light, but his eyes, dark and deep, lingered on Graham a beat too long. Pause. A technician coughed, adjusting a camera. Graham laughed, a touch louder than usual. 30 years? You're our star acrobat, then. Today's about the new film, right? Pirates, adventures, Johnny Depp in all his glory. Johnny nodded, setting the glass down. Yeah, something like that. But you know, Graham, sometimes I think it's easier to play a pirate than to live as one. He glanced at the settling audience, his smile widening but not warming. His fingers tapped his knee. Graham leaned forward, cradling his mug. Live? You're the king of Hollywood, Johnny. Are the pirates still chasing you? The audience chuckled, but Graham's eyes stayed fixed, searching Johnny's face for something. Johnny eased back, crossing his legs. Chasing? Always. But these days, it's not ships, it's headlines. His voice was soft, but headlines landed with a trace of bitterness. Pause. The spotlight glinted off his glass, casting a flicker on the table. Graham nodded, as if agreeing. Headlines are part of the game, aren't they? But you're a pro at outsmarting them. His tone was friendly, but a spark flashed in his eyes, like he was testing the waters, seeing how far he could push. Johnny sipped his water, slow, deliberate. Outsmart? Sometimes. But other times, they outsmart you first. He set the glass down with a clink. Pause. A technician in the corner froze, sensing a shift in the air. Graham smiled, but his fingers tightened on the mug. Well, you're back, aren't you? New film, new roles. The audience loves you, Johnny. They're always in your corner. He gestured to the crowd, which erupted in applause. But Graham's eyes stayed locked on his guest. Johnny nodded, his smile thinning. The audience? They love Jack Sparrow. Me? I'm just a guy trying not to drown. His voice was quiet, but a steel edge crept in. Pause. The unlit camera stood silent, but watching. Graham set his mug down, folding his hands. Not drown? You're a captain, Johnny. You always find the compass to get out. His tone was light, but the words carried a challenge. Johnny's eyes narrowed. Compass? Sometimes it points where you don't want to go. He leaned forward, fingers stilling on his knee. You're asking about the film, Graham? But we both know that's not what everyone's here for. Graham raised an eyebrow, still smiling. Not the film? Then what? Tell us, we're listening. The audience hushed, feeling the tension rise. Johnny paused. You know what? The trial. The scandals. The truth. His voice grew quieter, each word dropping like a stone in water. Pause. The lights sharpened, as if sensing the shift. Graham nodded slowly. The trial. That was loud, wasn't it? But you won, Johnny. That's a victory, right? His tone was cautious, but curiosity glinted in his eyes. Johnny's jaw tightened. Victory? Graham, victory means walking out whole. Me? I walked out in pieces. His fingers gripped the sofa's edge, but his voice stayed calm. Pause. The audience froze, a technician by the camera swallowed hard. Graham leaned closer. In pieces? But you're here, on the show. That's strength, isn't it? His voice was soft, but carried a pinprick, sharp, subtle. Johnny locked eyes with him. Strength? Or survival? You run the show. Graham. You know what it's like under the microscope. But you're always on the safe side of the sofa. His tone cooled, still polite but edged. Graham's smile tightened. Safe side? Maybe. But I'm asking for you, not the show. He set the mug down, hands clasped. Johnny swallowed, leaving the glass untouched. For me? Or tomorrow's headlines? His eyes flashed, fingers tapping faster. Graham didn't look away. For you. But you're right, headlines happen. They always do. Johnny's smile was cold. Yeah. And they always lie. His voice sharpened, but stayed controlled. Pause. The spotlights glinted in his eyes, underlining every word. Graham nodded. Lie? Sometimes. But the truth, it's in you, Johnny. Share it. His tone was almost a plea, but laced with caution. Johnny paused. Truth? It's not for cameras, Graham. But you want to know? Fine. The trial wasn't about truth. It was about who shouts louder. His voice wavered, then steadied. Pause. The audience held its breath. Graham waited, letting the silence settle. Louder? But you drowned them out, didn't you? Johnny clenched his fist, then released it. Drowned them? Or just stayed afloat? You ask about the trial, Graham. Do you know what it's like to stand there while the world watches? His eyes narrowed, voice low, taut. Graham nodded slowly. I can imagine. But tell me, what was it really like? Johnny glanced at the silent camera, as if it were listening. Really? Pain. Control you don't have. People think it's about money or fame. It's about truth being stolen. His fingers dug into the sofa, but his voice held steady. Graham leaned forward. Stolen? But you took your truth back, Johnny. Johnny paused. Took it back? Or just fought for scraps? You ask how I feel. Tired, Graham. Tired of the games. His tone cut sharper, eyes blazing with anger. Graham set his mug down, hands on his knees. Games are part of showbiz. You know that. Johnny looked aside, at the shadow of a spotlight. I know. But sometimes you want to step off the stage. Graham raised an eyebrow. What's your role now, Johnny? Hero or victim? Johnny froze. Pause. Role? This isn't a role, Graham. It's life. His voice cracked, a thread of anger breaking through the politeness. Pause. The lights burned brighter, the camera stood still, and the audience held its breath, sensing something had fractured. Silence filled the studio, heavy as the calm before a storm. Graham paused, his fingers tightening around the arm of his chair. The studio lights hummed faintly, casting long shadows across the red sofa. Life, he echoed softly, leaning in just a fraction. That's what we're all chasing here, isn't it? The real stuff behind the roles. Johnny's eyes narrowed, the tremor in his voice lingering like a faint echo. He set the glass down harder than intended, the clink cutting through the hush. Real stuff? You think this is real, Graham? Sitting here, cameras waiting to roll, everyone pretending it's just chat? His words hung heavy, laced with a bitterness that undercut the politeness. The audience shifted uneasily, a murmur rippling through them. Graham glanced briefly at the crowd, then back, his smile steady but thinner now. Pretending? No, Johnny. This is where truths come out. You've got stories that could fill books. Johnny leaned forward, elbows on knees, his leather jacket creaking softly. Stories? Or scandals dressed up as entertainment? The word scandal sliced sharper, his jaw clenching as he met Graham's gaze head-on. Graham didn't flinch, but his hand paused mid-gesture toward his coffee cup. Entertainment? Maybe. But your life's no script. The trial, it changed everything, didn't it? His tone was probing, gentle on the surface, but pushing at the edges. Johnny's fingers drummed once, then stopped. Changed? It ripped everything apart. He exhaled slowly, the breath visible almost in the tension-thick air. You ask about victory, but what if the wind feels like chains? Graham nodded slowly, eyes locked. Chains? From what, the past? The accusations? He let the question dangle, the studio's hum the only sound breaking the pause. The technician by the camera froze. Light glinting off the lens like a watchful eye. Johnny's voice dropped lower, edged with raw edge. Accusations that stick, Graham. No matter the verdict. You sit there, safe, asking. Ever wonder what it's like when the world's your jury? Graham's smile faded just a touch, replaced by a measured nod. Jury? The world can be cruel, sure. But you faced it. Head on. His words aimed to affirm, but carried a subtle prod, testing the fracture. Johnny's hand balled into a fist on his thigh, knuckles whitening. Faced it? Or survived it? The pain doesn't end with a gavel. His eyes flashed, the control slipping, a crack widening in the facade. The audience held its collective breath, the soffits buzzing louder in the silence. Graham leaned back slightly, giving space but not yielding. Pain, that's human, Johnny. Even for icons like you. Johnny's laugh was short, bitter, barely audible. Icons? We're all just flesh under the lights. He glanced at the microphone between them, as if it might betray him. You want the truth? Fine. The trial wasn't about justice, it was about control. Who owns the narrative? Graham's brow furrowed subtly, his voice steady. Narrative? You reclaimed yours, didn't you? The fans rallied, the truth came out. Johnny shook his head, a strand of hair falling across his forehead. Reclaimed? Or borrowed time? Every interview, every smile, it's all part of the game you play so well. His tone sharpened, accusation veiled in exhaustion. The pause stretched, the studio feeling smaller, the air charged. Graham set his cup down deliberately. Game? This is conversation, Johnny. But if it's a game, you're the master player. Johnny's eyes bored into him, the vulnerability twisting into defiance. Master? Or pawn? You prod, I perform. But tonight, I'm done performing. His voice cracked on the last word, the anger breaking through like thunder before the storm. Silence crashed down, heavier than before. The lights seemed to intensify, highlighting the strain on Johnny's face, the first real fissure, raw and unscripted. The audience leaned forward, transfixed, the camera, still dormant, loomed as a silent witness. Graham held still, the moment teetering on the edge, the illusion of casual chat shattered in the quiet that followed.